thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Burn! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Man, oh man. We are cooking today. And a pleasant good afternoon to one and all in the region, across the nation, around the world. I welcome y'all to the Brian Snow Show on this Wednesday. Very special show today because I am scheduled to have the voice of the Indianapolis Colts and Matt Taylor checking in with me. But I want to get something off my chest. You're probably wondering, and I've had many people ask me just in the past couple of days, why haven't you streamed to Facebook? Because that was one of your staples. Well, that staple was taken away from me because of a mistake. And apparently the mistake has been pinned on me. Friday morning, when I went to set up the stream for Snowman in the morning and for here and for this show, I had something waiting for me. And I tried several times to schedule the stream, and it wouldn't let me schedule it to Facebook. And I'm going, what in the world's going on? And by this time, I'm helping my wife get ready for work and all that good stuff. Then I found the reason. A friend had posted something to the tune of, I'm going to have a lot of NBA content dropping soon. So I respond in kind and I said, drop those bombs and drop that knowledge. Yeah. Because I said that on a sports platform, or a sports post rather, I got zapped. I got 30 days in Facebook jail. Now, why am I telling this story? One, I'm getting it off my chest and I'm finished so I can be finished dealing with it once and for all. And two, I believe that's unfair because I have seen and heard people say worse on that platform. Much, much, much worse. And they don't get zapped. Unfortunately, it's an incredible number. It's a number I cannot fathom of times and of posts that I have seen that don't suffer any, what is the word I'm looking for? Consequences. They do not suffer any consequences, and I'm going, why? All I do is talk sports. That's my lane. That's the lane I'm staying in. But I got punished wrongly. I can't advertise, at least for the next 21 days. I can't stream to Facebook. They call it an account restriction. I call it Facebook jail. And you're right, Cool McCain. Someone nine and a half times out of 10. Yeah, the last person to respond is the first to get caught. Ain't that the truth? Well, I was the last one to respond, and I'm the one that got caught. And I meant it in a fun fashion. That's it. I meant it in a fun fashion. Well, needless to say, it upset me. Nah, say it real, Snowman. Needless to say, it pissed me off. And I'm like, okay, you win. The hell with it. And I didn't post on Facebook for 4 days. On the 5th day, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to let them take my voice. So since I can't stream to Facebook, fine. I'll post to Facebook about my shows, but that's it. And I'm going to use Facebook as what it was supposed to be used for, a marketing tool. Once before, I didn't stream to Facebook for the better part of 3 months. And there were no mistakes in that. I said something to a friend of mine when we were catching up earlier today. I said, the difference between me in my 40s and me in my 50s is the fact that since I turned 50, I just do not care about this PC world that I have to live in, I have to survive in, I have to thrive in, which I will do all three. I've done the first two. Now it's time to thrive. I am at the point, no, try that again. I am past the point of caring what people think, say, or feel about what I put out there. I'm one of the best sports talk hosts in the game. Okay, more to the point, I'm one of the best talk hosts in the game for the simplest of reasons. I say everything honestly. And yeah, and I got victimized by Football 101. And thank you, Victor, for this. The last person to respond is the first to get caught. Yeah, that was me. That was me. Chris Dietz joins us, who will join me tomorrow on the morning show. Welcome to the Control Media. Dealt with this during COVID. Facebook is not a place for discussion. It is to suppress contradictory thought to join a collective. Well, count me out. And to tie it back into sports, I've said stuff like, oh, I don't know, LeBron James sucks as a basketball player. Yeah, you already know the end result of that. You already know. If you don't know it, you know it now after the fun I had this morning doing Braun sexual confessions. In fact, I just may play it. I've said things like, I don't know, Tom Brady's okay, but Montana is better. I've said things like, oh, I don't know, Tom Chambers plays a fundamentally sound forward better than LeBron James ever did. I said something like, I don't know, where are the bronze busts and gold jackets for Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, and Daryl the Moose Johnston? I said all of that. But it wasn't until Friday where I learned where the ranking is, where the, what's the word I'm looking for? Hierarchy is. And you know something? I don't care about the hierarchy anymore. I don't care. I don't really freaking care anymore. You know what they say about opinions? Well, I have quite a few of them. Only difference is with Victor, with Dietz, with myself, with Diggy, and with Mr. Cool McCool, aka Cool McCain. Danger is his business. I got facts to back it up. And Dietz, I know you had an accident recently. I hope you recovered very, very well. He has indicated that Totally Dietz Thursdays will go on as scheduled tomorrow, which is a wonderful thing. And Dietz, I may have you pinch it for me on Monday. In fact, it's a serious consideration. The biggest of reasons, it's going to help me with my recovery. It's going to help me stay in remission from cancer so I don't get it again and I get the proper rest, because I know the rest of this week is going to be a blur. Anyway, I've said better than some of the sporting opinions I've released. I've said a lot worse. And now I don't care. I don't care anymore about what people think. I could give 2/5 of a half of a damn what people think anymore. Why did it take until me turning 50 to finally believe that? I don't know. I don't know, and I really don't care. as long as that light that my dad tried to shed on me a long time ago has finally turned on. He would always say to me, people are not going to like your opinions, especially when you put them in front of a microphone. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. But the difference between having a difference of opinion with people and what I went through with Facebook, and I know many others have gone through with Facebook, when I have a difference of opinion with people, there's no limitation. There's no limitation to the debate, especially when it comes down to certain words that you can say or can't say. Geez, why do I feel like one of my heroes in George Carlin? Y'all know the story of George Carlin. 7 dirty words, said him in Las Vegas, said him on WBAI, and the Supreme Court happened. I don't expect what I've done to reach the Supreme Court. I mean, dear God, Facebook only handled it. Facebook handled it already. Beg your pardon on my statement. Dear God, Facebook handled it already. I just really don't care what in the blue hell people think anymore. I am finally at that point, and everyone who has been my friend and is my friend told me there's going to be a time, there's going to be a place, and there's going to be a situation that's going to drive you so far off the edge that you're just not going to care. Well, I am at that point. Since the bureaucracy wants to rule, it can rule. It just won't rule me. I'm going to continue to do this show. I'm going to continue to do Snowman in the Morning. I just won't do it on Facebook. I'll post the replays. I'll post the podcasts. And when it comes to a special celebration, which makes it a personal post, I put that up. Everything else is off the table. And Victor, yes, I did cuss. I said facts. An F word that people don't want to use in sports opinion-based business. Mike Greenberg said it during an episode of Mike and Mike in the Morning. We are in the business of opinion, and it is the business of opinion. But I like to bring facts with me. I like to bring facts with me. Now, I am at the point right now where I am simply tired. I'm tired. So you know what? In a way, Facebook, matter of fact, let me pull up the exact post that I wrote this morning. Now, I'm going to edit it for time purposes. I'm going to edit it because I really don't want to get in trouble. Swearing, that is. But I'm going to go ahead and read what I wrote this morning. I said, I changed my mind, Facebook. You don't and won't win. You can't and won't stop a snowman from talking sports. This time in Facebook jail, into parentheses, yes, a snowman landed in Facebook jail for encouraging a friend, just tells me that this world has gone too soft and too PC for its own good. Insert deleted expletives here. And thank you, Darnell Playmaker Solins and my beautiful Jody Snow, for knocking some sense into me. You don't win, Facebook. In fact, in the words of my longtime friend, Victor Locke, a.k.a. Vicaloch, you lose. Stato. And I put some hashtags behind it. I am finished playing for what was supposed to be my audience. I got goals to speak out loud, and I'm going to speak them aloud, and they go like this. The Patreon is going to jump off in the next week or so. And if I get in trouble for spamming, so be it. 100 no's will produce 10 yeses. I know they will. And the same will hold true for whatever other fundraiser I put together, because that's going to be my income right now. You get to the point. You absolutely get to the point where you just simply don't care. And once you reach that point, not only do you get mad, you get focused. Because I can honestly tell you, one of the first things I thought of when I saw that my account had been restricted, the first words out of my mouth were,
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
And then I started researching my situation, and I thought,
It just don't add up.
And I also thought,
it is stinky.
But then today happened where I stopped saying,
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
And I stopped thinking,
I've never been so humiliated in all my life.
Now I'm thinking,
I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
And I'm taking back my liberty that Facebook tried to usurp from me. I took it back. And ain't a damn thing they can do about it. Not a thing. And I know they're going to try again. I absolutely know they're going to try again. I don't care. Not care, cur. I don't care what they do, what they think. You can censor whatever the hell you want to censor. You can censor me, but you're not going to stop me. Back in a minute.
WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, home of Southern sports and talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
So this thing called sports, it has fans again. It has full stadiums, full arenas, and more. And you want to be a part of it, don't you? Of course you do. If you begin to scour the resale market, there will be tickets available. And what you need to get those tickets that you want so badly is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the app available to you that lends a hand in helping you get the tickets that you want for the events that you want. SeatGeek rates the tickets on a 1 to 10 scale, and the best part is the tickets are vetted for authenticity, so you know what you are getting and you know you are not getting scammed. And now you can save even more by using the code SNOWMAN and getting $20 off with your very first purchase. Yes, you can do all of that with the power of SeatGeek, helping you get to the games that you want, so you fans can fan. So let's all fan.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, you may qualify for a free continuous glucose monitor system. Managing your diabetes is crucial to your health. The new CGM systems can automatically manage your diabetes better for you. And by using a CGM system, you can eliminate forever one thing most people with diabetes hate the most: finger sticks. Now it's possible to manage your diabetes better, end the painful finger sticks, and get a new CGM monitoring system at little or no cost to you. We even provide in-home delivery and do all the insurance paperwork for you. Now is the best time to manage your diabetes better and get your continuous glucose monitor. Call now for details. 800-897-0014. 800-897-0014. 800-897-0014. That's 800-897-0014. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Well, looks like Matt Taylor's not going to be able to join me this afternoon. We probably got our times crossed, but that's okay. I know I'll have him on during the season. Very, very good friend of mine, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I got another story to tell you. Last year, as y'all know, I went under the knife for surgery to remove pancreatic cancer from the left side of my abdomen. And everyone was throwing one suggestion at me. And that one suggestion was apply for disability. Apply for disability inside of family, outside of family, people around me. Hell, I had people in the hospital telling me that. I'm like, I did that. I'm just waiting on an answer. Well, I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And then one day, my wife Jody pulled me aside and said, I got good news and bad news. Which one do you want first? I said, give them both to me. She says, well, the good news is you are declared officially disabled. The bad news is state of Indiana won't pay for it. What? And all I can think of was, whoa! I said, say that again. She looked me in the eye and said, you got declared disabled. You just won't get any money for it. And by that time, I'm thinking,
You're despicable.
And I said, why is this? So I did a little investigating. And yes, that's a made-up word. Turns out, according to them, I haven't put enough money in via taxes to claim disability. There's a second reason, but I will not state it here. It's just that first reason when I was told several hundred times that because I am dealing with cancer and I'm forever a cancer patient, that it would be automatic. They lied. Oh, I do have my guest here. Please welcome the voice of the Indianapolis Colts, Mr. Matt Taylor, and he joins me right now. What up, Matt? Good to talk to you.
How we doing, man? Good to talk to you. Sorry I'm running a little bit late.
It is. You're the voice of the Colts. You're running around crazier than I am, and I cover high school and college sports. I get it.
No, man. No, I just it's busy around here. Maybe lost track of time a little bit, but I'm glad we made it work, man. I apologize. So happy to chat it up with you. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. In case you don't know the news, I'm now in full remission from my pancreatic cancer.
I know. That's so awesome, man. I am so happy for you. That is just the best piece of news ever, man. I am so happy for you. So I know you got to be feeling just on top of the world, man. That's so awesome.
I am feeling absolutely fabulous. Matt Taylor, my dear friend, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts, joins me, and we're going to dive right in. What do they do at the quarterback position? Because that, for the past 2 years, has been their downfall. Carson Wentz and now Matt Ryan. They wore the same number. They wore number 2 in a Colts uniform. Now what?
It's great question. And next Thursday night can't get here fast enough because This has been going on since, really, I would say early December, when the Colts, started to kind of hit that tailspin towards the end of last year and
Yep.
that 7-game losing skid. And it's just fascinating to see how this pre-draft process evolve. I mean, there's 4 quarterbacks, now there's 5 in the mix, and they're kind of all just jockeying positions, if you will, in terms of who's going to be taking number 1. And I really just think it's just flavor of the month, or beauty in the eye of the beholder. I mean, those things sound cliche, but I think it truly is a situation where the Colts might have quarterbacks rated differently than maybe the Houston Texans do, or maybe the Carolina Panthers do. I mean, the only thing that we certainly know about next Thursday, that we can say guaranteed is going to happen, is the Panthers. They're going to take a quarterback. We don't know which one. A lot of people think it's going to be Bryce Young. Obviously, wouldn't be shocked by that, but still don't definitively know. And I mean, even sitting at 4, crazy to sound, even sitting at 4 where the Colts are at, there's, I don't know, 9 or 10 different contingency plans they have to have in place based on what could happen in front of them, and deciding on whether or not to trade up to number 3 to get a quarterback. That's got to be in play for them, and that obviously all kind of boils down to their evaluation on these players, on these quarterbacks, and how big of a gap there is in their evaluation between guy 2 and guy 3, or guy 3 and guy 4, depending on how this goes. So it's the draft for me should have been 2 weeks ago. Like I am just mentally tired of thinking about it. But it's fun. I mean, it's entertainment. It's hypotheticals. It's great, conversation for 2 guys sitting at a bar, or 2 guys just sitting here talking on a podcast, on a radio show. So I totally get it, but I am ready for next Thursday to kind of move this storyline forward.
I'm ready for next Thursday also. I'm going to mention 2 names that are far, far down on the draft boards, but they were pretty high up in terms of ranking in college because of the game that they played in. Max Duggan, TCU, Stetson Bennett, Georgia. Why are they so far down the board?
It's a great question. I just think that, we have been talking about these top 4 guys all along, in Young and Stroud and Levis and Richardson. And, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the difference between the top 4 and everybody else, because I don't follow the college game like the draft guys. But, that's what we kind of do this time of year. Certainly, early February to now, we try to bridge the gap, and we try to educate ourselves as best we can with NFL draft insiders. And I just think those guys at the top have, arm strength. They've got escapability. They've got high IQ, good leadership. Not that those other guys don't, but certainly, those are the guys that I think project highest to the next level here in the National Football League. But that's the wrinkle in all of this, as you know. I mean, certainly there are exceptions to the rule, and that being Jalen Hurts and Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy, in that you can find quarterbacks to come in and play at a high level for you outside the first round. But that being said, history kind of tells us that you got to get a quarterback in the first round if you want, a high trajectory, a high ceiling, franchise success. I mean, if you look at all the quarterbacks in the AFC this past season, all of them were drafted in the first round by the team that they were playing on. Right. And so that's what makes this such a, really important time for the Colts. I mean, foundationally, 2 major decisions in Shane Steichen. So they got the head coach, and now it's about getting, hopefully, the quarterback of the future in here that you can build around for the next 5 to 7 years minimum, in a very crowded AFC conference that's not going anywhere in terms of parity. I mean, Mahomes ain't going anywhere.
Nope.
Burrow, right? Tua, Herbert, Josh Allen. I mean, these are going to be quarterbacks you're going to have to deal with for a long, long time. And that's why the Colts have to, to get this right to the best of their ability.
And last year. You guys played Pat Mahomes at Lucas Oil Stadium to a victory, and you see the difference in foundation for the Kansas City Chiefs when they got Patrick Mahomes, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes, I beg your pardon, out of Texas Tech. And then you see the empty hole that is the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, they got to the playoffs under Phillip Rivers, but nothing since then. And Sam Ellinger hasn't been given enough starts to evaluate, can he be the number one guy? So you are looking at the first 5 slots to see what you do. Got a question for the voice of the Colts from our friend Marion McCarthy in Saratoga, New York. Is one of the Colts' contingency plans to possibly trade down depending on what other teams offer?
I mean, yeah. I mean, everything's in play right now. I mean, obviously there would be a lot of Colts fans that would say, what the heck is going on? But
right,
there's no doubt everything's in play. I mean, let's say that the Colts have been evaluating these quarterbacks for years, and you just can't. I have no idea where they're at in terms of their evaluation of these guys, but if the quarterback that is available to them at 4, or quarterbacks plural that are available to them at 4 are not worthy of being picked there based on the Colts evaluation of those players, then they're not going to do it. I mean, it just doesn't matter. Like the situation that they're in. I know Colts fans don't want to hear that, but you're still not going to pick flawed players that are not worthy of being named the franchise quarterback. Because if you get this wrong, it's going to set you back at least 5 years, and you're going to be doing this all over again. And in the meantime, you will have wasted viable years from the rest of the top players on your roster, like Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith, and guys on the defensive side like Buckner and Leonard and Kenny Moore and so on and so forth. So, yeah, this is a very important decision. Like you said, maybe there's a quarterback that they like somewhere else in the draft where they can get better value on that guy. I don't know. I that's why I'm so excited for next Thursdays, because the guy that's pulling the trigger on this thing is actually going to give you concrete reasons as to why he did what he ultimately does in this draft. And instead of talking to guys like me that are trying to get this crystal ball out, and I just can't tell you how it's going to go. I mean, we have this history on Chris Ballard, and we have, quotes that he's used in the past on things that he likes and traits that he covets and things like that. But it's fascinating because he's never been in this position. He's never been in a position to draft a quarterback this high when quarterback is such a gaping need on their team going into the draft. So in that regard, it's a big time question mark. Everything's on the table. Everything is sitting there at 4, moving up, moving back. Again, you don't know how he's going to feel about the prospects of the guys you mentioned, a Duggan or a Bennett or a Hendon Hooker. Maybe you can get those guys later in the first round by trading up. Who knows how it's going to go. So I'm just really excited for next Thursday because it's reality TV at its best. There ain't nothing like the NFL draft, and I'm just excited to see it unfold and the drama start to ensue, man.
Keep your questions coming, folks. While I have Matt Taylor with me, we go down to Charlotte, North Carolina. My friend Cool McCain poses this question. If CJ Stroud is there at 4, do you take him?
Man, I tell you what, there's a lot to like about him. There really is. There really is. I mean, the knock on him coming out is that he did not use his athleticism and his mobility enough in college. He didn't show that part of his game enough, but he did show it at times, and he showed it on a really big stage, obviously, in the college football playoff against Georgia. I mean, they should have won that game. They really should have won that game against the best defense in college football, and he made a lot of off-schedule, out of the pocket athletic runs in that game. So I think he's got that in him. But for most of the season, I don't really think it's at least for me, it's not a knock on him because he played with a lot of really good players. He played in a really good offense, and he was pinpoint accurate to some elite players. And so to me, I really like the accuracy part of his game for his career. He's around 70% completion percentage. That is an elite number in the Big Ten in major college football. And again, he did it. He backed that up on a big-time stage against Georgia in a game where I felt like Ohio State was probably the better team that night. So I personally, I would love the pick. But I tell you what, I'd like a lot of these other guys too, because I think they all have something that would allow them to translate to the NFL. I mean, there's no perfect prospect in this draft, right? There's no Luck or, like a Trevor Lawrence or a Dan Marino or a John Elway. But I think there's a lot of upside to a lot of these guys. And I think Stroud is right up there with me. I would have no problem him coming to the Colts because I think he's a guy that is pinpoint accurate, and that's what you have to have in the NFL to be successful, because you can move around, you can make plays, but ultimately it's about making plays in the pocket and performing behind your offensive line.
One more note, and I want to talk about Jonathan Taylor and how big he is for that offense. He was the bell cow that got them to the playoffs and sealed many a game for the Indianapolis Colts. How big is his health, and how big is he for this Colts offense?
Well, he needs to come back. He talked today, said that he's still recovering, not fully 100% yet. He had off-season ankle surgery. He missed 6 games last year with that ankle, had some cleanup procedures done, or a procedure, I should say, done this off-season. So he's feeling fine. I think he might be a little limited in the spring, which is no big deal considering who he is and what he's been able to prove. So you want to just get him healthy, ready to go in time in the summertime for training camp. But I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he showed it. I mean, he proved it 2 years ago in 2021 when he set a franchise record for rushing yards in a single season, tied the franchise record for rushing touchdowns in a season with 18. He's a dominant player, and he can be if this offensive line is able to kind of bounce back and generate a push better on a consistent basis for next season. But I'll tell you, again, this goes back to the conversation that we just had. I mean, as good as Jonathan Taylor was that year in 2021, rushing for 1,800 yards, the Colts still missed the playoffs, right? He was the rushing leader in the NFL by a wide margin, by about 500 yards, and the Colts still came up short. So it's never going to be about one player, and I agree with that in terms of the quarterback. But I think this franchise, in the way things have happened and gone down the last couple of years, has accentuated the need for quarterback stability, and they just haven't had that since the 2018 season. I mean, we're going on, this upcoming season will be the 6th straight season the Colts will have a different week 1 starting quarterback. Hopefully that stat ends this season and they can build this thing going forward and complement great players like Jonathan Taylor with, above average quarterback play.
Matt Taylor joining us here, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts, and a very dear friend of mine. Took some time out of his day to chat it up with us. I'm looking forward to next Thursday, man. I am looking forward also to having you throughout the course of the 2023 season. Thanks a lot, my friend.
You got it. My pleasure. Anytime. Be good, man. So happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Matt Taylor from the voice of the Colts joining me. And now, speaking of an off-schedule move, I scheduled this guy. I forgot I scheduled him. Oops. But he's here right now, and I see him giggling in the background. Please welcome Dimitri Romanos. What's up, man?
Oh, very nice accent works now. How are you?
I am well. How are you, my friend?
I am good, man. Just, trying to get from one day to the next as we head towards the draft.
This draft is going to be sick and crazy because of 4 to 5 names available at the key position, which is quarterback. And I just got done talking with Matt Taylor about it from the Colts. I mean, who do you think goes first? Is it Stroud? Is it Young? Is it someone?
You're a fool not to take Bryce Young number 1.
Right.
I mean, now, understand that for people watching the video feed, which one is it? It's that one right there. It's that one is my not that one. That one. There we go. That's how my heart works. Is the diploma from the University of Alabama. So understand I'm a tad biased here. But
You're a bit biased. Roll Tide, right?
Roll Tide indeed. I do think that in a pro strength program, you can. I mean, look, you're not going to do anything about the guy's height, but we've seen that height is not the killer that we used to think it was. In a pro strength program, that guy can put on more weight. I don't think you can teach his kind of poise, though. I think the level of presence he has on the field with the ball in his hand is something otherworldly. I mean, he's so methodical about what he wants to do that sometimes he can get in his own way. But I would rather have that level of operator than risk something like a Will Levis or even an Anthony Richardson to a certain extent, who rely so much on their athleticism, be it with their legs or their arms, that they end up making terrible decisions.
Yeah. Hendon Hooker, where do you see him going, and whom do you see him going to?
Who I see him going to, I mean, to me, that's hard to say until we get to draft night and see who panics. I don't believe he's a first-round quarterback, but I don't believe that is going to stop a team. And I'll just use an example of a team who's picking near the back of the first round. I don't know that that necessarily stops a team like Minnesota if they really feel like they need to get a quarterback. Or here's another one. I don't know that it stops Seattle if Seattle gets a more pressing need at number 5 and then can play around a bit at number 20, because with Geno Smith in the mix, with him under contract, you can let a guy like Hooker sit for a year, understand what he has to change, and also make sure that ACL is healthy.
Yeah, and I want to see what Hooker does because of that injury, we didn't get a chance to see him perform for the rest of the season, and there was so much on the table, especially after the big win against your Crimson Tide in Knoxville, Tennessee, that sent the entire state of Tennessee upside down. But in terms of Hooker's health, like you said, you want him to be completely healthy. You don't know who's going to, like you said, panic and take a chance on Hooker. Is it Seattle? Is it Minnesota? For that matter, is it the Chicago Bears at 9 to try to draft someone to get behind Justin Fields? I mean, they're pushing all their chips to the table on Justin Fields, but at the same time, there's a niggling concern in Chicago about who's backing him up.
Well, I understand that if you use your 9th pick to figure out who's backing up your quarterback, you probably are losing your job the next day, would be my guess. I think at number 9, they should have, if not their pick of every tackle on the board. Certainly, I think there are 3 dudes, maybe 4 if you add Darnell Wright from Tennessee in there, that people kind of think are at the very top of this class. And I see them having their pick of at least 3 of them of that group at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, who's to say they stay at number 9? I would guess if, let's say, I don't know, let's say Houston does this wacky thing where they are, in fact, going to take Will Anderson with the number 2 pick, and then they want to move back up to get a quarterback. Who's to say at number 12 you are not necessarily satisfied with whichever of those tackles is left? I mean, I think that, I don't know, I'm not in love with Darnell Wright the way some people are.
Right.
I also don't know that I'm super in love with anybody in this class. I like Broderick Jones out of Georgia, but I don't know that I look at him, the way we looked at that class that came out, what was it, 2 years ago?
Right.
With Slater and
with Sean Slater and Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I don't know that I look at anybody and say, oh, you've got your left tackle tomorrow if you draft that kid.
Mm-hmm. Man, a week from tomorrow, the NFL draft. Put your questions in the chat if you have any for my good friend Dimitri Ravanos of Barrett Sports Media. I'll repeat a question that I posed to Matt Taylor when we were talking Colts. If Stroud is there at number 4, do the Colts take him?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are 2. I think that he and Bryce Young clearly are the 2 best quarterbacks in this draft. If you let Stroud get down to 4. I know that there are a lot of people making the argument that the Colts are in a position where they really could gamble on Anthony Richardson. They are in the position where with Gardner Minshew, you could let Richardson have the full year, if not the majority of the year, to kind of get up to NFL speed. But if you don't have to do that, I don't understand why you would. If CJ Stroud is sitting there, that's a no-brainer. And honestly, if CJ Stroud is sitting there at 3 and I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I am waiting till the very last minute to make sure nobody wants to offer me a haul to get that pick.
Right. And so many trades can happen at once with any and everybody, especially in the first round, which is why part of the reason why the first round was moved to Thursday night. So all the wheeling and dealing can be center stage. What is a team in the first round that can pull an absolute surprise?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I am interested in so my answer is sort of like a halfway there kind of thing, because I am interested in just how satisfied the Buccaneers are with their quarterback situation. That being said, the Buccaneers made it very clear they are one of the few teams I believe knew they were not in on Lamar Jackson because they are in such cap hell right now. So I don't know that they necessarily could afford to make a big move to sort of shake up the draft. I go back to Minnesota. How committed are they to somebody like Kirk Cousins in that spot? I also think Pittsburgh is a possibility, not because of their need of a quarterback, but because they are kind of in the middle of not overhauling is the wrong word. Overhaul implies it's a much bigger project, but they are in the middle of trying to get this defense younger. There are a lot of talented edge rushers at the top, and then there's a big fall off to that next tier of guys. So would they be a team that might want to get into the top 10, whether it's to get a Miles Murphy or a Tyree Wilson or somebody like that?
Right. Oh, so many questions, very few answers, and we won't get all the answers until next Thursday night in Kansas City. Let's look at one of the deals that took place. You want to talk about a team defensively that was hellacious to deal with. First of all, they get even more hellacious when the 49ers snatched Javon Hargrave from Philadelphia and they give him a 4-year deal. This is a situation, and someone said it to me, and it's completely true. The rich get richer, especially on defense.
Yeah, I mean, look, the NFC West had 3 teams, and now weirdly, it's weird, right? Like going into last season, they had the Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals that were all going for it. And now I think they have the 49ers and the Seahawks that are going for it and looking at the Rams as sort of that cautionary tale, right? It hasn't changed the 49ers mindset. They are still willing to deal those early picks in order to bring in the stars and strengthen the overall strength of their team. I know that's kind of a word salad there, but I don't think it's lost on Kyle Shanahan that the quarterback situation is not getting any better right now. And besides, he's got decent weapons. Whoever the starting quarterback is going to be will have decent weapons around him to cover up his shortcomings. If you can turn that defense into a juggernaut, though, that's sort of the point of differentiation around the league, too. That is what is tougher to deal with than spreading it out and throwing the ball all over the place.
And the Niners are based on a run game anyway. Hello, welcome Christian McCaffrey.
He'll have 4 great games before he's out for the season.
Don't say that aloud. He had 8 of them.
I'm just going based on history.
I know, and that history is indeed there. But I think they'll use him and treat him better in Frisco than they did in Carolina, because there's actually an offensive line there that will help make holes for him. There's actually different weapons that McCaffrey can run behind or throw to. Hello, Brandon Ayuk against the Los Angeles Rams. There's just so much more there for Christian McCaffrey than there was in Carolina.
No, listen, Carolina has a long history of drafting a really special guy for their backfield and doing nothing to keep him in one piece,
Yes. Now, Jonathan Stewart, anyone?
Jonathan Stewart, Cam Newton. Yeah, listen, as a Bama grad, I've been telling everybody here in North Carolina that my ultimate fear is the Panthers draft and then ruin my sweet tiny prince. That he's just not going to hold up behind whatever excuse for an offensive line they're going to roll out next year.
It's the most porous offensive line in the NFL. It's the most besides the Bears who traded picks, figured that out, and they both need the same thing: an offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, and the other part too is, there are moments in every team's history that you go, oh, that's that team's identity in a nutshell. I mean, Super Bowl 50, blindside, on skates going backwards, not even planting his feet as Von Miller just rocks unimpeded to Cam.
Von Miller said one word: launch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a franchise that, look, David Tepper obviously wants to make a splash with quarterback, and he's tried and failed every single year.
Every time.
But here's the thing. I don't know that he's picking the wrong quarterback. I think the situation is that bad for a quarterback.
It is. It is. I mean, why are you going to put Bryce Young or CJ Stroud behind that line? Because
exactly.
if you put them behind that porous of a line, then they're going to use their legs more than they use their arm. Hello, Josh Allen. And no running game to lean on because you traded your best player, Christian McCaffrey, and you traded him to a team that was already rich with a running game. Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana, Deebo Samuel from wide receiver to backfield and back again. Now they basically handed the 49ers Christian McCaffrey.
And you traded him to a team that could not give you a first-round pick back for
couldn't give you a first-round pick.
that they desperately needed. I mean, I thought when they landed at number 9, when they started racking up those meaningless wins, and clearly were out of the top spot contention without a trade, I thought that, maybe this isn't such a bad thing. You build up the line. Apologies to any Matt Corral supporters out there, but you let him be the sacrificial lamb while you're building that offensive line.
Are you building the line? Yep.
And now you're betting that you've at least got enough figured out to put your franchise quarterback back there. I mean, boy, this is shades of not Derek, but David Carr all over again for whoever that top is.
David Carr, my goodness. I mean,
no one has ever been more acquainted with the person.
No. I mean, whether it be AstroTurf, natural grass, or the beginnings of field turf. Because remember that year, 2002 is when, teams started switching to field turf, wondering what it was. I've never seen a quarterback have more tire shavings come out of his pants than I've seen with David Carr.
Yeah,
and Derek ain't doing that good either.
No, and listen, I don't know, because the NFL has not expanded since that first year of the Texans, but I think just like when the NHL expanded into Vegas and they realized, hey, we can't wait forever for a new market to be competitive. If we're going to be able to build a fan base, they have to be good. I would think the NFL, whenever they are ready to expand again, are going to look at what happened in the early years of the Texans and go, we've got to figure out a way to make this team at least competent in year one, because we cannot do that to another number 1 overall pick.
I love that phrase, at least competent. And it's so true.
Yeah.
Listen, the Texans make their debut on ESPN Sunday Night Football. They score a win 19-10 over the Dallas Cowboys, but then the rest of that season, they got obliterated.
Yeah, I think all we learned from that win was how bad the Cowboys were that year.
The rest of that season, and my partner Cole Johnson, who hosts Snowman in the Morning with me, can tell you firsthand how horrible that team was. But it's an expansion team. You didn't think it would stretch all the way into the now, where they're looking at either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, and putting them, the same with the Bears and the same with the Carolina Panthers, putting them behind an offensive line that's no better than Swiss cheese right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they have an advantage over both the Bears and the Panthers in the sense that neither of those teams have Laramie Tunsil.
True.
You know, that is some real protection for whoever your quarterback is going to be, but it doesn't help your run game. And if you don't have a competent run game, it doesn't matter how good the protection is for your quarterback.
No,
it's just there's no threat.
And it's making your quarterback run for his life. Justin Herbert, hello.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert of the, and I know I'm saying this wrong. I'm saying it wrong with a purpose. San Diego Chargers. All right.
Don't forget our history.
Listen, folks, y'all know how I feel. Don't forget our history. When I was growing up, it was this that would get me going. I didn't even like the Chargers, but this song made you ready for an NBC broadcast of the San Diego Chargers, did it not?
This is the San Diego Superchargers song, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like, you know, here in I live in Raleigh where the Carolina Hurricanes are, and and understand, I am not a hockey fan at all.
Yeah.
But when they got the rights to start using the Whalers logos again, including Brass Bonanza, the song, there was a certain part of me that was like, maybe I could pretend this is an enjoyable sport for a little bit.
Right. And yes, they use Brass Bonanza for the Carolina Hurricanes. I couldn't believe it when I heard them play it.
Yeah, to people that are listening, like, it's a song you've heard it. You just don't realize you've heard it. It's exactly what the name sounds like. It's a Brass Bonanza. And it starts out with yeah. When
I was growing up, I got introduced to the Hogs. I got introduced to John Riggins. I got introduced to Art Monk, Joe Theismann, and I heard this song.
Hail to the Redskins, hail victory, praise on the warpath, fight for all we see.
I got introduced to all that tradition.
I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm a little bit younger than you. So I did not know "Hail to the Redskins" was a song. I thought it was just a chant.
Oh man, no, it was a song. It was a tradition, man. That's what I grew up with. Dimitri Ravino is joining me here on this Wednesday edition of the Brian Snow Show, talking all things NFL draft and taking a stroll down memory lane. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you coming on so much.
Yeah, happy to do it. Thanks, Brian.
Dimitri Ravino is a very, very dear friend joining me. We got to go. I got to get out of here because I still have a few things to do. Have a great afternoon, everybody. I love you, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.